Okay, so I just saw the Demon Slayer movie, the new Infinity Castle movie, and being Demon Slayer was like kind of the first anime I really got into. I kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit, not nothing too crazy, but I got a little bit to talk about, and it's not gonna be too in depth or anything, but just kind of yap about it, I guess. No context. I'm just gonna rank the first seasons off memory because I haven't seen them in a while, but off memory, we're gonna go season two. I want to like kind of preface how I feel about the other seasons before I go into the movie without talking about it, because obviously first video on the channel, don't really have any other prerequisites for Demon Slayer. I'm gonna have to do some research. No, I didn't click Fandango at home. I've never clicked Fandango at home. Okay, now I've seen it. I got the seasons on the screen over there because I don't remember. I'm gonna say Entertainment District is 1. That's my favorite. That's the one with Uzui, the sparkly Hashira. I don't remember what breathing he has. Number 2, we're gonna go Mugen Train. That's with Rengoku, and I think that was a really good movie. But I go season 1. I don't really remember what happens in season 1. But season 1 is probably third because I don't really like the Swordsmith Village one. That's the one with like Mist Hashira and the Love Hashira. Number 5 would be Hashira Training because that's just kind of a filler arc. But just preface the rankings before I talk about this new movie. We're gonna go. I say Entertainment District, Mugen Train, season 1, Swordsmith Village, Hashira Training, and that out the way. At the end of the last season, the Hashira Training arc, Muzan gets blown, just kablooey, by I guess the Master Ubuyashiki, Ubuyashiki, the master of the Hashira, of the Demon Slayer Corps, to blow up Muzan. Anyways, we end up in the Infinity Castle. Muzan is this big blood ball. Later on in the movie, you see Lady, I think it's Lady Tamayo, something like that. The demon that's like a good demon. He is kind of getting absorbed into that. I don't necessarily know what that's about. It shows the ending of what happened in the last season, and then we kind of get right into it. First big fight we see is Kocho, the insect Hashira, fighting. This is a rage bait demon. I know he's upper, I think he's upper rank 2, like upper moon 2, in the demon ranks. I don't remember what his name is, but he has these super sharp fans that he uses as weapons, and his blood demon art is like freezing stuff and like using his blades to fan the cold, and it's kind of cool. He was probably my favorite demon in the movie besides Akaza, but Akaza's, you kind of have a fundamental basis of his character already. But this new demon, I guess not new, I don't remember if he's been in stuff before, but he's fucking shit up, and he's fighting the insect Hashira, and honestly, she's not doing too hot. The insect Hashira's older sister was killed by this demon, which I'm pretty sure we knew already, but yeah, that's kind of the connection between those two and why they're fighting, or not besides why they're fighting, because obviously they're fighting because he's a demon, but kind of gives some personal background to their beef. Eventually she does have one attack that gets him, but it's the poison. She's using poison. She keeps using poison to try to like slow him down. It doesn't really do nothing after a certain point. It kind of just happens, and even when she gets a real big blow in there with the poison, it doesn't really do anything. Eventually it just kind of heals, and then he's back to killing her. Eventually, like, he ends up just bear hugging her to death, which that's the way to go out, I guess. So then her younger sister comes in, the one that was adopted, that Tanjiro kind of got a thing with. She sees what's going on. Kocho kind of gets a hand signal off, maybe just saying, hey, he's stronger than me. That's kind of what he says. But then you see this real gross, like, I thought demons ate people. No, he like was hugging her, and then she just like absorbed into his body, and she's all like, you know, flat and dead. So that was pretty gross, really gross to see, honestly. You see Kanao kind of go for something, but it kind of ends there. There's not any real resolution to that. I know it's gonna be like 3 parts, so obviously we still got ways to go, but that's kind of the end of that one. The next fight you get to is Zenitsu versus Kaigaku, the upper moon 6, upper rank 6 demon. He has some personal ties as well. Kaigaku was supposed to be the co-apprentice to the thunder breathing clan. Zenitsu could do only the first form of thunder breathing. Kaigaku could do the rest of them, and so that means they had to be a co-apprentice thing, successor, and Kagaku didn't like that. He thought Zenitsu was weak, and then eventually he just decides to become a demon. That means that the Thunder Clan, or I'm gonna call them clans, I don't really remember the thunder breathing technique school, produced a demon, and that's not great. Not just not a reputation thing you want to have. And then his grandpa killed himself. But not too happy of a vibe. Demon Slayer has always done the emotional stuff well. I think they do it really well in this movie, especially later on with the Akaza stuff. They really make you hate Kagaku because he just keeps going. He just keeps on talking. Eventually, he realizes that he probably shouldn't have shit talked Zenitsu as much as he did, because Zenitsu has created his own form of Thunder Breed in the 7th form. I will say this was probably like the animation in the first fight was good. It wasn't as flashy as the other Demon Slayer stuff, but it was still really good. The Zenitsu fight is where shit really picks up, when the lightning effects start happening, and Zenitsu specifically has a really nice moment at the end of the fight, which is basically how he kills Kagaku, and it's his 7th form, the one that he created. And dude, it's nuts. Like, the lightning is going all the way up this big like tunnel that is part of the Infinity Castle. It's, you know, one of the big drop zones, and he's just like spinning up it, and he's charging up this big final slash, man. And the effects on it are nuts. If you can, please go see this in a theater. I know I'm gonna complain later because I think it was a little too long. Like, I felt it was I was kind of like, yo, let's get this over with. He ends up killing Kagaku, which we all saw coming. He's a demon, and Zenitsu's they're not gonna kill Zenitsu. Zenitsu he eventually dies, quote unquote. He sees his grandpa, and then the other good demon, the one that works with Lady Tamayo, the good demons, the ones that, like, you know, are giving Nezuko the antidote and stuff. The younger one, I don't know what his name is, I can't remember. He comes in, and he rescues Zenitsu because Zenitsu's falling down that chute, and Kagaku's going down yelling, "Oh my god, I'm taking you with me. You're gonna go to hell with me." And then that guy comes in, swoops him up, saves him, brings him back to health enough to like live, you know. And then there's a little funny moment with some trainees, like some not younger, but like some just regular core members that aren't like, you know, breathers. You see some stuff besides just the Hashira and the main guys. Obviously, Inosuke has some time in there as well. I don't necessarily remember where in the movie he's at. He has like bits and pieces dropped in. That's one thing I think is kind of a issue with the movie, but it's not really an issue because obviously you're taking one chunk of a huge story, because the Infinity Castle arc is pretty big, and they're breaking it down into pieces. So you're not gonna get everybody like the Love and the Snake Hashira are like in it for like 30 seconds. Some characters are gonna get like done a little dirty just because you're breaking one little piece out of a bigger story, so it's not going to seem like that. But I'm sure once all 3 parts are out, it's going to be like more complete, just all around. Obviously, that's when we kind of go to the Akaza stuff. We saw Giyu and Tanjiro earlier. Giyu saved Tanjiro from falling, couldn't get his balance, and now they run back into Akaza. If you don't remember from season 2, or I guess Mugen Train, the movie, Akaza is the one that killed Kyojuro Rengoku, the Flame Hashira. He's been kind of the biggest influence to Tanjiro as a character. He's been the one that kind of gets the flashbacks the most of like what sat with Tanjiro and what helped him out mentally and with his technique and stuff. Rengoku is such an integral character to Tanjiro in the story, and Akaza is like the big reminder of that, you know. And not only having to take him on just in general, but taking him on with Giyu, who's also kind of another one of his biggest influences, and get like some payback, I guess, for Rengoku's cool. It's probably the best fight in the movie for sure. I think the Zenitsu one has its moments, but just all throughout there's little spots of emotion and, you know, like the good stuff, the more slower stuff, but then they just throw you right back into the like chaos of the fight. Tanjiro is damn near Hashira at this point, and he gets his mark and all that, or his mark comes back out. Giyu gets his mark. Kind of, they're not unfuckwittable because it's Akaza, but like if it was a regular demon, they, you know, nothing's fucking with them. That's a stupid point to make. I'm cutting that out. Tanjiro and Giyu versus Akaza. You get some. I want to kind of break it up because you get the fight and then they kind of throw in some backstory for Akaza in the not in the end, because it's kind of like a big chunk of the movie. I think the Akaza versus Gyu and Tanjiro fight goes on for like damn near an hour, probably. Just that whole, if you include the backstory part. Tanjiro cuts off Akaza's head. He gets like Gyu's down and out damn near. He figures out the Akaza fights on fighting spirit. That's how he senses where everybody's at, and he can sense like moves before it happens. And like Tanjiro mentions, he can predict moves with the scent or with his strong nose, which is something that I completely forgot Tanjiro has. I know it's kind of a bigger thing in the first couple seasons, but I really don't even remember them mentioning it in the last 2 or 3 seasons. So I forgot he has a good smell, but he does. That's kind of like a forgotten aspect of his character, at least in my brain. I'm probably wrong. The Demon Slayer fans will remember. He remembers this conversation he had with Inosuke about Inosuke being able to sense hostile energy and like killing intent, basically. Tanjiro kind of remembers, if he can suppress that killing intent, suppress his just overall fighting spirit, then he'll be able to get the jump on Akaza. Tanjiro had like 2 moments where he could have definitely just got a clear shot at Akaza's head, but then he couldn't keep his mouth shut and had to like announce that he was there. Also, Akaza like wouldn't die even when you cut his head off, so I guess it didn't matter anyways. Tanjiro did get a clean swipe, get his head cut off. His head disintegrates, which is where I'm like, okay, they got him, cool. But the rest of his body doesn't, and his body starts fighting, and then you see like his head is starting to grow back, which is weird. I'd never seen that before, but I think it has something to do with the potency of how much blood Muzan's given him, and he's like kind of a super demon at this point, which kind of makes me think that Upper Demon 2 is going to be a pain in the ass to get rid of, because he's also, if he's Upper Moon 2, which means he's probably stronger than Akaza in some way, Muzan's probably giving him a lot of blood as well. And then not to mention the guy you see at the end, the one with the Upper Moon 1 with all the eyes and shit. His head starts growing back, and he's still fighting. Like, he's still fighting damn near as strong as he was before. He's doing all his like stomps in the ground and his like blood demon arts on the floor and shit. Akaza gets that little power up from, I guess, almost dying. I don't know. So this is when we kind of get some Akaza backstory. Akaza's name at the time is Hakuji, and he used to steal for his sick father, steal for medicine money, and basically he used to keep getting caught. He had the tattoos from stealing. They beat him, did everything they used to do to thieves back in the day. And his father found out that he had been, he'd been caught. He's getting beat, all that stuff. And his father hung himself, which not great. Okay, I just want to chime in. I'm editing this, and I realized that I didn't realize anything, I guess. I just watched it again, and I was more locked in a second time. I also say Kaizo's name wrong the entire video, so just act like that didn't happen. Act like every time I said Kaizo, I said Kaizo, because the first time I did it, I forgot his name and I had to look it up, and I didn't have a pronunciation, so I just said Kaizo. It's Kaizo. That goes for every other name fuck up I had in this video. I think I got most of them right, but Kaizo was fucking me up, man. I also remembered Yushiro's name, which was Yushiro. Other than that, I'ma let Video Steven get back into it. One day they were about to kill him, and Kaizo stepped in, even though Hakuji'd already taken out everybody, but Kaizo stepped in and basically fought him. When he beat Hakuji, he like beat the shit out of him, and took him in and was like, hey, I'm gonna let you stay with us. I have a daughter. Daughter's name is Koyuki, and so Hakuji and Koyuki, they start kind of falling in love. He's taking care of her because she's sick, and he kind of becomes like the son-in-law of Kaizo and the Soryu dojo as a whole. Eventually, some years pass. She's not sick anymore, and you see that he like has become basically like they're like this, and Kaizo asks him basically, hey, I want you to take over the Soryu dojo for me, and which implies, he's gonna marry Koyuki. And because you see that she asked him to marry him earlier on at the fireworks. There's this moment where when she's still sick, says, hey, you should go see the fireworks. You're always taking care of me. Go enjoy yourself, see the fireworks. And he's like, I can carry you there. If you don't feel like going, we can go next year, or we can go the year after, whatever. And then we see a moment further in the future at the fireworks in a couple years, I think maybe like 2 or 3 years later. And you see that she basically asks him like to marry him or marry her. It's a good moment, man. I like it. I like this whole little arc with Akaza's backstory, Hakuji, and all that. You know that Akaza's a demon now, and you know that something's gonna have to take a turn for him to like become a demon. And yeah, we see what happens. Sakuji went out one day to go visit his father's grave, basically telling him, "Hey, I'm getting married." You know, he has tattoos of a thief, so he thought he would never have a happy future. He would never have a career. He would never have anything like that. And he's telling his father, "Yeah, hey, look at me." This is where that heartbreak comes in, man. You know something's gonna happen. He comes back. He gets back to the Soryu dojo, and they have poisoned Kaizo and Koyuki, and they poisoned the water, and they both died. Hakuji gets back, and it had kind of been established that the surrounding dojos didn't really like Kaizo because he didn't have any like connection to the person who owned that dojo land before him. He just happened to save an old man, and the old man had no heirs, so he gave the dojo and the land to Kaizo, and the people around that area did not like that. So we already kind of established there was some beef with the surrounding dojos, and kind of see it coming, but when it happens, hits you like a truck. You see them both laid out. He was supposed to be getting married. He was supposed to be leading the dojo. Like, his life had finally turned around, and then boom, it's all over, just like that. And he loses it. He goes and he kills the entire rival. One of the dojos kills them all. And the way they describe it don't look that violent, but they describe it like, you know, he was ripping out eyeballs, ripping jaws in half, like he was going nuts. After that, they're looking for him, and he's walking, and I guess Muzan came in, and Muzan got word of a demon, because they were saying it was a demon. They were saying it was like it was a monster, and he came to see, looking for a demon, and he found a human. Hakuji tries to just walk right past him, and Muzan hits him with the fucking chop through the head, and basically says, "Hey, you're a demon. You're a demon now, buddy. Better take this blood and like it." That's how we got Akaza. Get that. It goes back to the fight with Giyu and Tanjiro. You see his head start growing back fully. Like, it's not ever fully back, but it's just getting there. And he finally just attacks himself. Like, he loads up the attack that he used to kill Rengoku and basically uses it on himself. So then he's like in shreds. Like, his head's gone. His body's got holes in it and stuff. And Tanjiro and Giyu have like no idea what the hell's going on. It's a visual, I'll tell you that. And he basically tries to die. He says, it's over. I'm tired of regenerating. He's ripping his skin off. You see him regenerating his like flesh, and he's ripping it back off. Like, his farewell is him. He's going. He's trying to die, and he's seeing like he's finally back at home with Kaizo. He's at the dojo. He's with Koyuki and all that stuff. But then like Muzan will come in and he'll grab his head, and he'll go back to Akaza. Koyuki comes in. She hugs him like, "Hey, come home. We're finally waiting for you." Whatever. The normal stuff. You see someone coming from heaven talking to him. It's a heartbreaker, man, but he finally accepts it, and it fades away, and then you get the Giyu and Tanjiro wiped out from exhaustion. The birds flying around screaming, "Hey, Giyu and Tanjiro took out Upper Moon 3. Cool little finale to the movie. It feels like a good enough stopping point, but like I said, it feels really long. The movie feels really long. I feel like a lot of the Kocho stuff was kind of what, if they cut the Kocho stuff, but you have to do it. It's part of the movie. I get it. It just felt a little long. I don't really know what you cut, so I'm not gonna make that a complaint. Overall, it was a really good movie. Animation, sound. I did see it in dub. I didn't mention that Kaizo is played by the famous Channing Tatum, who I like Channing Tatum a lot, honestly, and I think he did good in this. There's times you can tell he's just new to the way anime is voice acted, but I still think he did pretty good. And I heard people say you could tell it was Channing Tatum, and the only reason I could tell it was Channing Tatum was because I knew it was Channing Tatum going into it. So I think he did a pretty good job. While we're on the topic of dub voice acting, Alex Lee, phenomenal job in this. He's done Zenitsu, he's done Gigi and Don Don. I know you might be able to see it. I got Solo Leveling behind me. I really like Solo Leveling, and I really like his performance as Genu in that as well. Bryce Papenbrook, the little bit of Inosuke we get is always great. There's Himejima and Moichiro, the mist Hashira and the other Hashira. I don't know what he does. I don't remember what he's like. Is he a stone Hashira? I don't really remember. He's a Hashira though. He's the big one with the fucking chain and shit. They're running, and they start running on this big pillar because it's the Infinity Castle, so it's all the weird stuff. They start running at the beginning of the movie. And at the end, when Giyu and them beat Akaza, and the birds flying, telling everybody they're still running on that same pillar. Obviously 2.5 hours didn't pass in their time, but I think it's just funny that they're still running on that. While we're on voice acting, I also want to mention Doma. So I got his name. It's Doma. The Rage Bait Demon's name is Doma. I forgot. They do say it in the movie, but I was thinking like Rage Bait Demon the whole time, so that's just why. Doma is voiced by Stephen Fu. He does a really good job as well. I think his voice is part of the reason I think he's so good at rage baiting in this movie. So sad, you're so weak. Gaku is kind of like the most one-dimensional villain you got. I think everybody else has a pretty sympathetic backstory. Like, I feel everybody else is kind of, even Doma, I think his weird, like, I think he's like God's child. Really, like, to be honest, it didn't do much for me. Yeah, I think that's really it. I got most of the stuff I wanted to say out. I'm ready for the second part of this movie. I know it's gonna be a couple of years probably, but it's really all I gotta say. Thanks for watching this. You had no reason to, but if you are, thanks. I'm gonna try to make some more stuff. Obviously, you see I got a lot of stuff, and I plan on doing videos for all this stuff at some point. Comics, manga, anime, whatever. Let me know if there's anything you want to see me talk about. I think Kagurabachi's on the list as well. Kagurabachi's something I've really been into, so we'll see, but I appreciate you watching. I guess peace out. See you. I'm not gonna say bye, but bye.